a lot of us are unintentionally telling prospective clients to off.
No. And then we go, I don't mean to be horrible, but you are horrible.
Yep.
I don't feel like that's inviting you in. I feel like you're trying to repel me from it. Would I make a move towards you? Probably not. Shapes that are very
What's
similar.
a carrot?
It's new trouser day today.
It is, and they're a barrel leg.
They are a barrel. Me and my sister were in M&S the other day, and there was barrel, carrot, tapered, balloon, so many trouser shapes that are very
What's a
similar.
carrot?
Similar to a barrel.
Carrot? I don't quite understand that.
I've got a pair of carrot jeans.
Okay.
There we go.
Right, okay. Actually, that's quite a nice little lead in, because there's me being rather judgy about a carrot.
Oh, you were. Oh, this is a good lead in. So what are we talking about today?
Being a judgy carrot, clearly. Oh my God. Can we reference that as people? Like, you are a judgy carrot.
A judgy carrot.
A judgy
Means
carrot.
nothing to anyone, but we can. Yeah, absolutely.
So judgment around, I mean, let's face it, we're all human. We all do it, whether we admit to it or not.
Our brains always default to judge, don't they? And then we go, I don't mean to be horrible, but you are horrible.
Yep. Yep. It's like none of us want to openly admit that we are judging others, but we do it all the time. And from a business perspective, when you are running your force-free training and behaviour business, how often do we judge? My hand is way high up in the air here. How much do we judge clients, prospective clients even, before they've even worked with us, for saying certain phrases, for giving off any kind of indication that they're not going to put the work in, they don't seem to care about the dog's emotional needs, welfare, all of that stuff. Judgy McJudgerson carrot comes out.
Yeah, and the problem here, part of the problem here comes back to the gap that widens the more knowledge we get and the less knowledge the public have, because that's, they're not getting less knowledge, sorry. Their knowledge isn't increasing and ours is massively increasing. We're not going to labour on that today, but this is about partly that and partly our idealistic desires, really, of who we want to come in, because I think there's also some confusion around when you're niching or you're looking into an ideal client, for example, and you do that kind of work and we go, right, we want to say who we want and who we don't want potentially. There's a line of how far we go with it, because I know that there'll be a lot of you listening here that go, I only want the committed people. I only want the people who are going to do the work. I only want the people who care about understanding their dog and having a better relationship with their dog, and the welfare of their dog is put first, and anyone that doesn't fit that criteria isn't going to come in. But how many people out there are probably, once they're educated, willing to do all those things, but they're not there yet? And so what we're doing is excluding probably a vast amount of people just because, like you said earlier, they're saying a certain word that we don't like, such as, this comes up a lot, obedience. Like, we hate that word in the industry. We hate what it stands for. We know that there's a lot more to owning a dog than just getting them to sit and lie down and being obedient. But in that dog owner's brain, that's the whole thing, is obedience, and they don't know the difference, do they?
No, I really struggled when I was trying to get support on my marketing around the language you would use to connect with someone. And this person kept saying, it's obedience what they want. I was like, I'm not using it because I don't believe in that. I don't want a dog to be obedient. I want them to have this nurturing, amazing relationship where they understand one another and they want to put that dog's feelings and emotional needs first. And I can't bring myself to call it obedience, just not doing it. And I was categorically like, no, absolutely not doing it.
Mm-hmm. I also hated it. I hated it. And I would cringe inside when someone said that word in an inquiry. And I'm like, oh, well, I've got a massive job here to get them to be where and like, it's that convincing straight away in my brain goes, I've got a lot of convincing here to do to get them to
Did
understand.
you do that in the call?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I have.
Yeah.
I didn't even wait until,
No.
oh, you're in.
No.
I've immediately gone in and been like, oh, so obedience for me, I don't actually like that term for all the reasons that I've just said. And I'd say that.
Oh, so would I.
I'd say it to them on the call.
But we all do. This is the thing, right? We all do it and we get why we all do it. It's because we are so... The more we learn, the more we're invested, the more passionate we get, the harder it is for us to understand what it feels like to be a dog owner. And this is where that resentment about people comes in hugely. And this is something that we wanted to bring this up today because this is something that's been coming up in our client calls a lot recently, hasn't it?
Yep.
It's been holding people back.
God, yeah. I think in our call last night, the entire 60, actually we ran over, so like nearly 90 minutes was covering this topic. Because when we are discussing things like your marketing and when you're speaking to people from that sales perspective, it was a realization for me actually through doing that coaching, a lot of us are unintentionally telling prospective clients to fuck off.
It is
before they even come in.
It is that.
Because if we are, and I understand it as well though, but like I love how you just brought that thing up earlier around we get people to do that ideal client thing, and you would naturally list like all the things that you don't like. It's like, oh yeah, I want them to make sure that they know that we're only going to work with force-free reinforcement methods and all the nice stuff. I want someone who wants to put the work in and is willing to put the work in. I want someone who wants to understand the dog. I want someone that is going to listen to what I'm saying and do the things that I'm going to tell them to do. Brilliant. Everybody in every single industry, no matter what you do, is going to want that. The question we have to ask ourselves is, how far removed away from that idealistic version is the truth? Because you can have your criteria, but you've also got to be mindful. And I think this is the hardest thing. You've got to have that skill to be able to know that they are not where you are now.
And also the problem comes when you get the odd person that is that idealistic client and you go, oh, I've heard myself say, oh, I wish I could clone them. Wish every client coming in could be like that. And you feel good. You feel like you've got the rapport with them. You feel like I could work with you forever. And you've set the bar then. And anyone else that comes in after that is shit. And it's, and I've felt it and I've said it. And it's bad. It's bad, isn't it?
It is bad. But you don't know you're doing it. You're not doing it intentionally.
No, there's never an intention. Like, I love people and I would never have done that intentionally, but I did do it. I got swept away with, like when you're around other people that's saying those kinds of things and you're like, yes. And you kind of get that, I don't know, like cheerleady thing about it. That's how it used to happen sometimes for me.
It's that passion bit, isn't it? It's that passion piece in you that overtakes. And we don't realise we're doing it, but by doing all of this stuff, we are damaging our business.
It's detrimental. It's detrimental to the business. It's detrimental to the people. We really, this might sound harsh, you're failing the people if you don't meet them where they're at and you don't acknowledge that their knowledge level is very different to yours. And so they're only saying the things they're hearing. Like, we're putting out this stuff somehow, somewhere, and they're only picking up on it. And we're doing nothing to change that, really, because all we're doing is judging them.
Yeah.
And trying to convince and trying to help them see a different thing. But actually, poor dog owner is only struggling with the symptoms of the problems. And they just think obedience is going to be the answer to those problems. That's all it is. It's really, when you strip it back like that, no client inquires with you and goes, I'm going to really piss them off now and use all the words they really hate. They're just going like, that's all I know to say. That's the word I recognise, and that's what everyone else says. So I'm just going to use that word.
When you're doing that qualification process, so let's go back to a thing that comes up quite often is that we want someone who wants to put the work in. What does that look like? And how is that prospective client essentially going to prove to you that they're going to do it? What do you need to hear from them? And what are you asking them? Unless you're actively, and again, like there's ways and means of doing this, because you could easily be in a position on that discovery call where you go, well, I would need you to put 20 minutes in a day. Can you do that? Well, immediately it's a closed question. So you're going to put somebody's back up and they'll go like, oh, yeah, I can do it. Okay, great. Because that's what's needed. Okay. And it can be a little bit fearful.
There's the pressure there straight away.
There is that pressure. Because, and again, like if you've positioned it in a way that that's your requirement, and I'm mindful as I'm saying this, I've got like a little angel devil thing on my shoulders and going, it's all very well and good saying this, Jo. However, how do I then make sure that the client does know that I need all this from them? Because if I don't tell them all of that, then I'm getting the wrong client. And I can hear it. I've got like the two parallel journeys happening simultaneously in my brain. And it is through just experience, I suppose, of just doing it and realizing it and learning well, the same way that we learn about dog behavior. I know so much more now, but of course I do. I'm 14 years into my dog training journey. 13 years. I've been doing it a long time. I've invested loads. I know a lot more now than I did. And the same way about how to market it so that I'm speaking to the right people and I'm getting all of that stuff. And I think this is where it is incredibly difficult when you are coming at it from a passion-led thing, because passion can take over if it's not, I'm going to say controlled, but I don't like that word, but you know what I mean. We have to give it some parameters. We have to give it some boundaries and go, you can be passionate without being a judgy carrot. And also, sticking with the judgy carrot.
Be realistic to that person's, what we could have this. We only want those people that are going to be committed, all the list that we've already mentioned. And then what about those people who aren't that and we're not helping them? Because I know what dog trainers are like. They want to help everyone and they want to make sure that the person's coming to them and not to the horrible trainer down the road or the less experienced one or the one that doesn't do things quite as well as they do or whatever it is. But actually what you're doing there is going like, no, not even going to try and explore that and see whether I could possibly help you and see whether we might get you to a certain point, maybe not the end point of what I would love it to be, but maybe that's going to make a big difference to your life. And if you can put a bit less work in than maybe I'd like you to do, but you can do that and you can commit to that, then maybe, just maybe, we are improving everybody's life here. But for the willingness to not even be, no, I'm going to put that many caveats in the way that you are going to, unless you tick every single box here that we're putting out, like you're not even going to have a conversation with me. And it's almost like this kind of like defense mechanism up, isn't it? Yeah. To go like, you have to fit these criteria, otherwise you don't even get to have a conversation with me. And I just think a dog owner is still a human. It's a person. It's a conversation to be had. You won't know till you talk to them. And we're like strong believers in that, treating people like individuals and not lumping them together just because they've used a word that we don't like and it's got us feeling a bit icky inside about it. But I also understand that is a difficult thing to do as well, because it is hard to detach. It is hard to put yourself, and I don't mean put yourself in their position wholly. I just mean like take yourself out of it a minute and just look at that person like they're just a human coming towards you for some help and support.
My brain is bouncing around. I feel like a pinball machine in my head.
Oh my God. Explain.
All these little balls just bouncing around, or to like different areas. What is so funny, right? So, my little pinball machine head is bounced to the idea of I think this is where we struggle because we're not treating our business like a business.
Mm-hmm.
We're not able to look at it from that perspective of what does that business need and how does the business need to interact with someone? You can have your own personal set of values and your personal beliefs and your personal opinions. If that negatively impacts the business, then there's a problem. So that's one kind of area. Another area is, I think this is where we look at our dog training businesses as something that we need to sell. And because when I say we don't know how to sell, I mean it in the way that we've never been taught the skills to have deep and meaningful conversations. That selling concept is still very much I'm going to get got, I'm being sold to, I'm being manipulated, I'm being pushed into something that I don't want to buy. Yeah. And I genuinely don't believe that the entire world has, bar a few, the ability to sell well, to sell with that integrity, to sell with genuine exploration and discovery of somebody. And when we're looking at that from that messaging perspective, I'm trying to take it out of.
So, sorry, are you getting at then when if someone fits the criteria, we're automatically going to say yes? Whereas we don't know that yet because we haven't had that conversation.
And then thinking of selling as like, I need to get somebody to buy my thing. So therefore, the criteria that I'm putting on my website is buy my thing. This is how I work. Basically, you potential customer, you decide if you want me or not based on the stuff that I'm putting out there. So if I can put all of my fears and concerns that I'm going to bring in the wrong person by putting, it's almost like a protective block. Like think of it like if you were dating someone.
Yeah.
It's that actually, no, I want this, 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 and this. If you don't meet that criteria, I'm not even going to go on a date with you. But it's surface level stuff. You don't know what's underneath because we're not looking at that value bit behind it. So we're putting out that, it's a bit like a CV if you're going for a job as well. It's like you're going to put all the stuff on there that you think that company wants to hear.
Yeah.
But that's not you, and you don't get to discover that until
you'd never
you're
see depth in a CV, would you? Just see facts on a piece of paper.
No.
Then it's the interview that actually enables you to realise if they're a good fit and you're a good fit for the company, isn't it?
And actually, if you think of it from, taking it out of dog training, if you look at it like a company looking for a new hire, if you look at it as you're looking for a new partner in life or whatever it may be, it's what's attracting you to that person, that business in the first place. The same way your clients are being attracted to you. What are they attracted to? What is it that they are seeing from you that they like? And on a very generic level, a lot of us as dog trainers, we're putting generic stuff out there, which is why there's this price comparison, which is why you'll get ghosted from phone conversations because there's no real reason to buy from you. And if we've done the judgy thing, not necessarily in person to them, but through our messaging and through our marketing by saying, you need to do this, I don't want you if you're not willing to put the work in, blah, 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 so on and so forth, then how are you going to be attracted to somebody? Because you can see, if you're looking at that from a dating perspective, that's someone they've got their guard up. So why would I even want to go into that? Does that make any sense?
No, it does. Because do you know what I'm thinking of when you're saying that? When there's here's one example. When you walk into a shop and there's like, no this, no that, no the other, no, and there's like a list of no's. It might be no food and drink, no dogs.
Oh, yeah,
no,
I'm with you now. I was like, what?
Like, no, you're not allowed to basically have fun in any way, shape or form. And it's not just that, some pubs do it as well, don't they? No caps, no trainers, no da-da-da. Immediately when I see those things, I'm like, fucking hell, what can I do then? Like you're putting that much in the way that you actually turn somebody off because there's too many rules. You get it on campsites as well when we go to campsites. There'll literally be those campsites that are so relaxed and so laid back and they're just like, yeah, do whatever. Might be a bit too the other way. Like there's literally no rules. To the ones where they're so like, you can't do this, you can't do that, no fires, no ball games, no basically fun. And I hate those ones because it feels so restrictive, doesn't it? So you could actually be at that surface level just turning people off when actually it might not really be like that inside. It might be a very different experience, but there's just that wall there, isn't there? If you go in, no, do you know what? I don't even want to find out then if there's that many things in the way.
This is the challenging line, isn't it? Because then on the flip side, using that campsite example, well, they don't want ball games and they don't want this and they don't want that. So actually, it's doing its job. It's doing exactly what it needs to do.
True. Yeah.
But this is where you've got to be, and I think this is why I struggle when we have these conversations, because I totally get it. We're saying I only want those clients that are willing to do X, Y, Z and all of this, that and the other. I think the difference being, and the point we're trying to emphasize here, is that we're not giving people potentially the chance to become that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a bit different on a campsite and in a nightclub. There are those things there for a reason. When you're in a service-based business and you're working closely with someone on behavior and it's highly emotive, you have to give somebody that bend and flex to mold and change.
Yeah, and we're also just basically saying there's two camps of people. One, people that care and want to know stuff, and people that don't. And they should never have got a dog in the first place. Now, we all know there's people that shouldn't have got the dog they've got. You are a prime example of that, really.
Me.
Let's go back to your days where you got your little husky puppy. I'm joking here, but that potentially is that judgment to go like, who the hell is she working a job like that and getting a dog like this? Like, it's not right. And they can't get past that maybe. And then you've got, well, you can't be helped then because you've made a bad decision. You may, like, there's no exploring of the fact that you may have realised that and gone, do you know what? I actually, maybe I've bitten off more than I can chew, and I do want some help and advice and I'm willing to do it. But because you're seeing the facts in front of you and that maybe I don't on the surface tick those criteria because I don't know that yet. I don't know if I'm those things yet, because you might not. But I'm willing to take that advice on and be led by you because you're the professional. Maybe, just maybe that might happen. But I get both sides of it as well.
Yeah, it's so hard. And I think this is where you've got to, I think this is where that attraction marketing has to come in.
Yeah, there's got to be more to it than
there's
the
more
thing
to it than
that
just
someone's buying.
Because they're not buying the amount of hours from you. They're not buying that. They are buying the idea of what is possible. They're buying an outcome. They are buying into your belief system around things. So if in your marketing and in your messaging, you are expressing your own views, and again, I'm so fucking contradictory and grey. You can express your views in, say you've got like a social media account, just pick an Instagram for example, and you're doing like some stories and some reels, and you could be talking about how your belief system is that force-free training is the kindest way to work with dogs. This as an example of your journey and how you got there. So if that was me, I'd be like, I'm trying to think of some of the stuff I did back in my training business. Although I wasn't overly prolific on social media, if I was doing it now, I would do a lot more talking stories of not even necessarily bringing that to light as a thing, but the theme would be into everything. So be like, oh, look, in this example here, I'm choosing to feed the dog when a scary man comes into the room because they're fearful, and I want them to have a positive association. I found by doing this, the dog then expects something good from it to come. Now, I absolutely could do this another way, and I could reprimand that dog for misbehaving when he sees that bloke. For me, though, that doesn't overly sit well because I feel like I'm just going to add in more fear, because now there's that thought process that, oh, not only am I scared of the man, I'm now scared of my person in that they're going to tell me off when this comes in. So for me, I want to try and bridge that. And do you know what I mean? Like you do it in that story way instead of, if you do this to your dog, you're a twat.
You're not. Yeah.
I mean, you could absolutely do that, and that's your choice. But this is that attraction marketing bit.
But is anyone going to want to work with you if you say stuff like that?
Certain people might, because
a lot of people won't.
There are variances of, but at least like you're sticking to your own lane with it and going like, you can still put your message across, but in a way that works for you. That doesn't have to be overly judgy. If you want your brand to be judgy, like, you lean into it.
Yeah. And I think
I was thinking of Southend, sorry, when you were saying that, like, he's actually really like, yeah, you are a fucking dick if you do that.
Yeah.
But actually, like, look,
he owns that.
And that's the difference. It's owning it. I think when we try and hide behind it through education, and not intentionally hide behind it, but do you know what I mean? We almost try to educate someone when they're not ready to be educated.
Not ready to, oh God, yeah. That's a big thing, isn't it? And also, like, I've done it with business. I've done it with Gareth with business and tried to educate him around like running a business that he doesn't want that. He doesn't want that type of business. He doesn't want to hear that information because we're running very different types of businesses potentially, or he's not where we are in business. It's a different, completely, different phase or whatever. So I totally get it from that point. Also, with the education bit, I feel like you can still do the education but be relatable to the person where they're at as well. So it's linking it back, isn't it, to go like, do you know what? Like, this is a way that works really well, but I get why you might not see that at the moment, or I get why you might be doing this because that's just what's out there and that's what people do and that's how people might. So you can just bring it back to them. I understand why you think like you do, because you're not a dog trainer, basically. If you want to like be as direct as that and go like, why should you be? You're not a dog trainer and I don't expect you to be one, So just use your knowledge of being a dog. I think it's the biggest skill you can have is go, I'm a dog trainer here. This hat on is a dog trainer hat. And this is where I do all my awesome stuff and teach these people this stuff and they learn how to do it. And then there's this hat, which is my dog owner hat. And most of you out there are going to own a dog, I'm sure. Although when I started, I didn't own a dog. I didn't have a dog and I felt a bit like fraudulent because I didn't have one. But I'd worked with that many dogs that I knew it did work. But it's like, there's your dog owner hat. There's your everyday, why you get a dog, what you want that dog to do and what you don't want it to do, what your kind of goals and stuff are, what's the reason you got the dog in the first place, like, and let's pretend you know nothing. Those are the things we need to remember, and those are the two hats almost we have to put on and take off, when we're around these people, when we are educating them on social media, when we're talking to them in their kitchen, we have to remember we're a dog owner as well.
Imagine if we just did like a day-long episode, because we'd bounce
through
like so many different
it would go lots of places.
It would, yeah, because to me, like, this is totally flipped into like that marketing stuff here, and this is I think marketing can sometimes be perceived as advertising, because yes, that falls under the marketing umbrella, but marketing is, how are you positioning yourself and your business? What are you known for? What are
it's how you show up as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all of that stuff wrapped under it. It is not just selling your services. It is not just advertising.
It's way more substance, isn't it?
And again, I think this is where that disconnect is, and this is where we're not looking at our businesses like a business. We're going, I'm going to market so that I get inquiries, so essentially advertise. I'm going to put some pictures of dogs up and some case study things just to show that that's what I do, but then that's still linked with advertising, rather than marketing as a way of, I get to know you and I get to do this. And then it's almost like you have to do an element of influencer without being your typical influencer of, you don't have to put everything out there, but you've got to put something out there that someone can go, oh, I know you and I know what you stand for, especially when you are a sole trader. If it is just you in the business, that is the thing that's going to help set you apart. If you are a faceless, nameless, just a company name with pictures of dogs and a list of how you work and what you do and what your accreditations are, it's difficult to buy from.
And it is difficult to connect. So like, we do these free webinars, and we, ahead of the webinar, we will just make sure that people have got the link. They've got everything they need to join. And we usually do that via WhatsApp. And if someone joins, I don't know if you've had this, Jo, but when I reached out to somebody who's put their business name and haven't put their name. That's happened a few times, and it's literally just the business name, business email. I'm like, I have no fucking clue who I'm talking to here. I don't like this. It feels so cold. And I hate not going, hi, such and such. And I've done it before. I've gone, hi, paws and claws. Like, don't really know what else to call you because I don't know what your name is. And that feels really icky for me to not know who it is I'm talking to. Can't even like conjure up an image in my head of anything. It just feels like so cold. And that's just me in that situation reaching out because they've signed up to something from us, and I'm just going, hi, I just want to make sure you've got everything you need. Just be a person, a human. Yeah. And it's so hard.
Yeah.
So that's my perspective. Look at all the other examples that we're giving here if we're talking about that faceless brand.
It's hard, isn't it? Because that mindset bit is so... I think we do it as a means of trying to be professional.
I also think it's a protection thing.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about showing up in Facebook groups to show value and to show that you are an expert without being egotistical kind of expert, people are very afraid to use their personal profile in that. They would go in with their business one, thinking that that's the right thing to do to protect everything. But actually, it just stops people actually connecting with you anyway.
Yeah. I've said it before, I will say it again. We are not in the business of dogs. We're in the business of people.
Mm-hmm.
And these people skills are something we have to keep working on because it will affect your marketing. It will affect your sales. It will affect your entire strategy. Because if we don't want to speak to people, then we need to find an alternative way to connect that still allows you to speak to people.
Yeah, and I think the other useful exercise you could do here is we talk a lot about looking outside the dog industry for different examples. And I think if we're looking at that, like the judgment thing, imagine you were looking to get involved in a new sport. Let's say you're interested in getting into paddle tennis, and your experience of moving towards that industry or that element of that industry, of the sports industry, was all this judgy stuff. Like, we only want people who are receptive to learning and putting in the time and effort and the practice involved. Like, we want people who are real community people and no one else. Like, imagine how that would make you feel. Would that want to make you get into that sport? Or probably you'd feel like, God, that sounds a bit cliquey, really. That's probably how I'd feel. I don't feel like that's inviting me in. I feel like you're trying to repel me from it. Would I make a move towards you? Probably not.
Yeah. It's that pressure piece. And I think you've got to decide what type of business you want to have. You can absolutely be that potential paddle instructor, that dog trainer, that whatever example I said earlier, of have you very strict requirements of who's coming in, but be mindful that you will be targeting very few people. And
this is the irony of this whole situation is that so many of you out there want to help so many people, but actually your pool of people is actually going to be very small.
Yeah.
If you do it
you put too many
parameters in the way.
Yep. And instead of exploring what could be there, and again, I think this is where we've detached ourselves from being human.
I think it is that.
I think we've become so obsessed with the dogs and their well-being and their sentience and all of this. Well, what about the person?
Yeah, because all those things are really important for the human as well, but we've forgotten it.
The person is just as important in all of this. Yeah, okay, maybe they shouldn't have got the dog. Yeah, okay, maybe they feed them shit. They go and buy pedigree. It doesn't make them a bad person. They just don't know.
They just don't know what they don't know yet.
Maybe they've gone and got, and I think for me, I'm trying to think when I actually, because I was this person. I'm not saying I've never been this person. I was absolutely that judgy trainer that put all of those things up. And in my head, I was like, well, the more I can tell them about how I work and what I do, then they can decide without me having to convince them and having to do all of that. So my website was plastered with I only work with you if you want positive reinforcement and force-free. This basically means that we're going to use treats and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. My expectation is you need to be putting at least 20 minutes work into all of this. And I was that person. And hypocritically, I never did that stuff myself with my own dog. I didn't give them 20 minutes a day of dedicated training, ever. It was sporadic. It was as and when I could fit it in. But I didn't connect the dots at the time because I was so obsessed with I'm helping dogs and I need to teach people to do this. But that's all I did. And I think for me, the genuine turning point was when I became a parent. Because I was like, I've got every intention of raising those kids the same way that I now look at dog behaviour, in having that patience and all that understanding and all of that stuff. And then there's days where I'm a normal human being that's having a nervous breakdown and I'm at capacity and I shout and I'm a vile human being in that moment and I hate myself for it afterwards. But what do? Admit that never happens and that's not real? That maybe, how much could you go down a judgy route of being a parent? It's like, oh, you shouldn't have had those kids then. I'm sorry, but when the fuck is a good time to have a kid? When is a good time to get a dog? When is a good time for anything? There's never a good time. You've never got enough cash. You've never got enough time.
Of course, it all depends on the kid is pushing your buttons and you have had a few things happen that day that has made you just go, do you know what? Fucking hell, I'm going to snap. Like a bucket that's full for a dog. It's the same, isn't it?
Yeah. But this is the reality of being a dog owner as well, because they're not just a dog owner. They're a person that's got a job with a boss that's possibly breathing down their neck. They've got relationships with their peers or colleagues of going, oh God, there's just normal human drama gossip that's going on. And then that's filling their bucket. Then you've got to go home and do the dinner and sort the dogs out and go for a walk when you're at capacity and you're tired and life is moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour and you haven't got any food in the house and you've got to go to the bloody supermarket. And all this stuff.
The normal stuff, everyday stuff. And I think, again, it's that lack of empathy of being a human being and managing life. And we just expect that. And again, I've done this. I've expected people to just put all that to one side and fully focus on that thing that I'm teaching them to do. And if they don't do it by that next session, you'd feel that disappointment, wouldn't you? And that like, oh God, why aren't they just doing it?
Yeah. Just
for God's sake, do the thing. Your life's going to be easier. Your dog's going to be better. Your dog's going to be happier. And you forget in that moment, they're pulled in a million different directions.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. We've done it unintentionally because we're human. The same in Canine Business Academy. We've got clients who've invested a lot of money to be with us. We're having the calls. We're giving them the stuff that's going to change their life. They've come to us for a reason, that they want to increase their finances and get a better work-life balance and all of that stuff. And then they've not done the work. And internally, as a human being, that frustration creeps in because you're like, oh, you've paid us. Do this thing and it'll work.
Why are you doing it?
Why are you doing it?
The reality is it's not as easy.
It's
and we
not.
know it and we have to like catch ourselves with it and go, yeah, we know. We are human.
So it doesn't happen to you as just dog trainers. It happens to every single person out there that is delivering a service to someone. And if we put all those barriers up like we used to in the dog business of, if you want to come and work with us at Canine Business Academy, you need to commit to so many hours a week. Well, it's not always that possible. Like you can, and it comes down to that marketing and that messaging that you're putting out and going, I don't think we've ever said you need to do so many hours per week. We've been asked the question a few times.
Yeah, it's a hard question to answer anyway.
I think maybe like less than a handful in 3 years we've been asked that question. But on the whole, it's that attraction marketing that we talk about all this stuff for the person, so potentially you listening now, your brain will already be consuming the thoughts that, oh, there's quite a lot in this. So you're coming into it knowing it's not just a one and done thing. But your potential dog training clients are coming in going, oh, it's a puppy class for like 6 weeks. That's all I need to do.
Yeah.
Just attend the class.
Yeah. And we haven't even chatted around the services we're putting out and the perception that gives to people. Like that's another topic that spins off this really as well.
Yeah. I feel like we should probably stop there because we'll just keep going.
Oh, but literally, that all day episode you were alluding to? My God, I think we could easily do that.
I reckon there's got to be like a Guinness World Record thing that you could do, like the longest podcast.
Ryan, is there a longest podcast episode? I was going to check it.
There's bound to be.
And of course, you want to beat that record.
Of course I do.
Because you're that type of person.
Yeah.
I like a challenge. I'll do it as well.
Don't put all this on me.
I'm not. But it's easiest to put it on you and then I'll just go along with it.
Ryan's laughing. Go on.
153 hours.
153 hours?
6.5 days.
6.5 days?
Without any sleep? Oh my God.
With no sleep?
I couldn't do that.
No, you've got to have a sleep.
Swapping in and out. It was a team.
Oh, so you've got to do solo bits. Oh no. Well, I don't think I'd like that.
I'm going to look into this.
How would I just keep talking to no one?
We'll chat to you afterwards, Ryan.
Incoming world record attempt.
I love it. Cool. Actually, before you guys go, make sure you go and check out CBA Live. It is happening on the 9th and 10th of July 2026.
Yeah? I thought you were going to say more about it then.
I was just going to say there's a link in the show notes.
Yeah, there is.
Get your backside there. The business event for force-free dog trainers and behaviourists where we bring all of this stuff to light and life. I don't know which one it is.
In Earl, in the room.
Bye.